Well, as we're all well aware, the fine folks over at Line 6 have just released their Helix Firmware 3.5, and what an update it is. I've already released a video talking about my top 5 favorite new features, and the number one feature that I love about this new update is the new CABS we have. So we want to dive in, see what they can and can't do today, and let's see just how great these actually are and what new things we can do and what we can accomplish with them. So here we are over in HX Edit, and I have a little instance of the PV Vitriol Crunch amp up just with the default settings. I also have a little bit of the dynamic ambience reverb that is brand new for this update as well. But now let's go to the middle in between here and add a cab, because right now we just have this disgusting cabless sound going. So we're going to come down to the new cab block. Obviously we could add an amp and cab block as we could with previous firmwares, but we're going to be really interested in this new cab block right here. Now, if you notice, we go up to the top, it offers us single cabs, dual cabs, single legacy, and dual legacy. So when I come over to the legacy cabs here, we just have all of our old cabs. So all of our old presets will still work as they should. We can pull up, a 412 Greenback 25. And everything works quite nicely. We could also pull up one of the old dual legacy cabs where we see here that we can choose between two different cabs, just like we always could before. Now you'll notice there is a little switch up top here. Now what this does is it either links or unlinks these two cabs. So if I have them linked, when I switch to another cab, both of those cabs are going to switch, as we can see here. But if I'm happy with, let's say, the 112 Bluebell here, and I want to switch this cab to something else, I can unlink it, come over to this cab, click something else, and it is going to allow me to switch to a different cab instead of having them linked. If I link it back up, choose a different cab, it's going to change both of those back. That's going to work on both dual legacy and the new dual cab. So whatever works best for you, it's there. Now look at all of the new cabs we have as part of 3.15. We have a 110 US Princess, 112 Grammatico. I won't read them all off to you, but they are all listed here, including some bass cabs down here. So a nice selection of new cabs. Now you might be wondering, well, what's the big deal? What's the difference here? Well, we are on this PV Vitriol Crunch amp, and I'm going to match that up with, let's say, a dual 412 Greenback 25. As soon as we load this up, we now see what the difference is. If I was on a single cab, you're going to notice it's going to just be a single representation of it with these controls. But if I move over to a dual cab, we're going to basically have the ability to select one or the other speaker and change all of these parameters. So let's start with this first one. We can choose which mic we want. A lot of the same mics we had before, basically. We see a 57 dynamic, 421 dynamic, 7 dynamic, 906 dynamic, and 30 dynamic. Still have the 121, 160, and 4038 ribbons. The addition of an 84 ribbon, which is an AEA 84 ribbon mic, a 414 condenser, 47 condenser FET, and a 67 condenser. So let's maybe choose our 160 ribbon mic here. This is the really neat part though. We can either just grab the graphic user interface up here and move this microphone around on and off axis and back and forth. Now, if we don't want to do it that way, we can also position it using the sliders as we always have. We can position it along the left-right axis, and we can also pull the distance back and forth. So very, very handy stuff. And you'll notice here, it'll get to points where it says the cap edge. So the edge of the speaker cap. We can have dead center, and we can have the edge of the speaker. And it's going to act exactly like it would in the real world. So here we have this beautiful ability now to really tweak within our cabs the tones we're going to get based off of how we position the mic, not just dealing with the distance anymore. We can also angle the microphone 45 degrees or 0 degrees, so straight on or angled. We still have low and high cuts like normal. Notice they're set to off by default. We have a level control, and this is really cool. We can pan the two only in dual. If we're on a single cab, this isn't going to work. It's not even going to be there. But we could pan this hard left, let's say, We could pan this hard right to get a big stereo sound if we are running a stereo preset. We can also delay slightly to maybe get an even fuller sound. And we'll take a look at how all that sounds. So let's see even just with these settings what this sounds like. Now, of course, we could also just pan both of those straight up the middle. And get some really great tones. Let's say we wanted to push that 57 dynamic right onto the center and keep the level at 0, but we want to take something like maybe a 121 ribbon mic pulled back and angled a bit, but we don't want quite as much of that in there. We could use that technique to blend them. We could also do something like this where if we had them at equal volumes and we wanted to just have them both dead center and maybe like I was showing before, panning one left, one right, maybe even just delaying one by say 10 milliseconds, maybe balancing the volume out so they're more even. So lots of great possibilities here. I'm really liking this idea of being able to blend two microphones now, adjusting the balance between the volume on them. And we can still apply those high and low cuts in here if we so desire, much in the same way we always could. Get rid of some of that upper fizziness. So a lot of amazing features, and I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with how these new cabs work. Now, I think a lot of folks are going to be very interested to see how the new cabs will compare to the legacy cabs. So here what I've done is I've taken the same amp, same settings as we were using before, and I've added an instance of legacy, just a single legacy 412 Greenback 25, with a 160 ribbon mic, 1-inch back, and no low and high cuts on, no early reflection or anything of that sort. And I've also loaded up an instance of the new 412 Greenback 25, new to firmware 3.5. Put a 160 ribbon mic on, positioned the mic kind of, I don't know, just where I thought it might work. Distance of 1 inch, angle at 0 degrees, no low and high cuts at all either. And I've set up two snapshots to switch between the legacy cab and the new firmware 3.5 cab so you can hear them back to back. So here's the legacy cab. The 3.5 cab. Now, obviously, we could move things around here. We could apply low and high cuts to them. If we were to do that, let's say at 100 hertz and 10 kilohertz on each one respectively, we can compare to see if that makes a difference. I notice on the new cab, there's a little more high-end fizz to it, maybe a little more full low mids on the legacy cab. I think they both sound fabulous, and I don't really think, just because we have new cabs, that I would never go back and use the legacy cabs. I actually really like a lot of the legacy cabs. Obviously, with the new cabs, we have the ability to move this mic around. And quite honestly, if we move this out to the side and angled it, it's really going to change the sound of it a lot. So that begs the question, do we ever use the legacy cabs anymore? Do we go back and change great presets that we already have using the legacy cabs and switch them out? I personally won't do that. I've dialed my presets in that use the legacy cabs to sound exactly how I want them, whether using just different microphones, different distances, some creative little EQs with some shelf EQs. So I don't think it would really pay off to go and say, hey, we've got new cabs, I better go switch those. Having said that, will I use the new cabs when doing brand new presets? I very likely will, just for the fact that I like the idea of being able to move that mic around now more on and off axis as well as just the distance. But that also doesn't mean that I wouldn't just go back to a legacy cab that I know and love and know that I can dial something in really quick with it. I think that this is not necessarily a replacement for the legacy cabs, but I would say this is just a great addition to the Helix so that we now have more options, which is really what it always comes down to. So there you have it, a look at probably one of the most requested features we've ever had on the Helix. I'm super happy they're in there. I hope you guys liked that look at them, and I hope you liked the comparison between the legacy cabs and the new cabs. And I hope you see that it's just nice that we have them all in there and we have more options, which to me is what it's always about. And once we get used to using these features, we can get to our end goals that much faster. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please stay tuned for a lot more firmware 3.5 content. I have a lot more of it to come. So many great features, and a real tip of the hat to the fine folks at Line 6 for putting out another amazing update. So thank you guys so much for sharing your time with me. Please like the video, share it with anybody who you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more, and especially some more firmware 3.5 content. Ciao for now.